of the Homeland Security Committee and member of the Armed Services Committee, joins us now. Senator, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Savannah. Good to be with you.
Well, I wonder what you think about the president's tone. He kind of let Congress have it on a multitude of areas, not only Libya, but also on the debt negotiations, basically saying, why do you take so many recesses, get back to work, and suggesting that his daughters, Sasha and Malia, are better at solving problems in a timely way than Congress is. What do you make of that?
Well, what I make of it is that when things are not going well, people here in Washington tend to blame each other. The fact is there's plenty of blame to go around. I actually believe that the president's right about this strange business of the House and Senate being off at different times. And we ought to go back on a schedule that's the same. We ought to be here at the same time. But the other reality is this. Most members of the Senate and the House are not involved in these budget negotiations, and that's creating a lot of frustration among the rank and file of both parties. In other words, first it was the vice president and the six. Now it seems to be the president, Speaker Boehner, and Senator Reid. And so they ought to figure out how to be in town at one time. The fact is, we all got to get together and solve an enormous national problem, and shame on us if we can't do it.
Well, indeed, and I know you and Senator Coburn have a proposal to raise the eligibility age for Medicare. You said at your press conference yesterday, the sooner you take the strong medicine, the sooner you'll get healthy again. But you just mentioned, I mean, what evidence is there that any politician in Washington, Republican, Democrat, or independent, dare I say, is willing to take any strong medicine?
Well, this is the problem, and the longer we wait, the stronger the medicine is going to be. I mean, of course, it's easy to say to people, I want to spend more on every program you want. Oh, incidentally, I want to cut your taxes. What happens then is you end up where we are today with a $14 trillion national debt growing by more than $1 trillion additional dollars every year. And in the case of Medicare, it's not like if we don't do anything, it's just going to keep on going beautifully. The experts tell us that the Medicare Hospital Insurance Fund could go bankrupt in 5 years. So the American people, we need to have the guts to tell the truth to the American people. I think part of the reason why Congress is unpopular is that we keep going back and telling people what they want to hear. The fact is, we've got to show some discipline, some guts, some bipartisanship, or else Medicare is going to collapse and our whole country is going to go over a fiscal cliff from which it'll take a long time to recover. The
latest thing we're hearing, one of your colleagues, namely Senator Chris Coons, suggested that maybe the idea of having a debt ceiling at all is unconstitutional, that it violates the 14th Amendment. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Chris Coons is a very smart and actually a good lawyer. We went to the same law school. He much later than I, unfortunately. I haven't thought about that, but I'll tell you something, the debt ceiling, the need to extend the debt ceiling, how much debt America can take on, is a form of discipline. We haven't used it because we're so deep in debt now, but I think it's having an effect now, which is to force us by this deadline to face the consequences if we don't get together and cut spending. And I'm one of those who have said, for the first time in my career here, I think that the danger of doing nothing and having America go deeper in debt is greater than not extending the debt ceiling for a couple of days, and that's, or maybe longer. And that's why I think it's very important that we cut spending in some way, significant way, before we again authorize America to take on more debt. It's irresponsible.
Senator, very quickly on Libya, we only have a few seconds left.
Sure.
What evidence is there that Gaddafi is being squeezed or pinned down, as the president put it today, by NATO's actions? I mean, in some sense of it, Gaddafi's hanging on 3-4 months later into this.
Well, he's hanging on, but the momentum is clearly against him, and I think he knows that. There have been defections around him. The opposition to Gaddafi, who I call the freedom fighters, are making progress not only in the east, where they had a base of strength, but now in the west. I think NATO, including the U.S., have to pick up the pace. And I believe that before too long, we're going to see Gaddafi out of power in Libya, and that's going to be a step forward, not only for the Libyan people, but for the Middle East and all of mankind. This guy is an extreme dictator.
All right, Senator Joe Lieberman, got to leave it there. It's good to see you, sir. Thank you.
You too, Savannah. Thank you.
Well, politics now, and new polling out today in the 2012 race.